As Americans around the world tuned into the culmination of another NFL season, also known as the Super Bowl, police in Tacoma, Washington, began an investigation into an atrocious incident. The beginning of the end started when a 25-year-old mother invited a friend over to hang out. What he found led him to call 911 immediately. At about 7:30 p.m. on February 12, 2023, officers responded to the Lodge at Madrona Apartments on Mason Avenue following a report of an unresponsive child who was, quote, cold to the touch. The individual said the toddler was on the bedroom floor wrapped in a blanket. When officers entered the unit, they were led to the motionless child who was described as very stiff with no pulse. He was lying flat on his back with his knees slightly bent. After attempts at life-saving measures were unsuccessful, 3-year-old Prince Lewis was declared gone at the scene. Detectives initially noted discoloration, multiple bruises, and burns on the entirety of his face, with some injuries appearing to be fresh. After removing the oversized black hoodie he was dressed in, they then observed multiple wounds and scabs to the child's chest, sides, arms, and legs, consistent with being struck by an object. They reported trauma to the front of his head and swelling above the eyebrow. Several other areas of his skin were red and appeared to be burned also. It was noted there were numerous small marks on the child's chest, which matched an electronic shock device, or TASED, located on the kitchen table. Following a search of the bedroom, detectives found a black electrical cord that had been tied at one end and had multiple loose wires at the other end. According to the documents reviewed, it appeared that at least 2 loops in the wire coincided with the loop-shaped injuries on the child's leg and chest. Additionally, authorities believe the burns may have come from the apartment's heater. Responding officers recall the heat being turned up to the max when they arrived, so much so that one of the officers reported it was difficult to breathe inside the apartment. Detectives noted there was a red substance on the wall of the playroom consistent with dried blood splatter. At the time, police weren't sure who contacted 911. However, while they were still on the scene, a man identified only as JP said he had gone to Ivey's apartment after the Super Bowl to hang out. Upon his arrival, the mother told him she thought something was wrong with her son. The man noted that Prince was not responsive and appeared cold to the touch. This prompted him to immediately call for help. Later, a more detailed interview of JP was conducted, and he explained that on a different occasion, Ivey made Prince raise one hand. She then struck him on the torso with an electrical cord as punishment for wetting a mattress which was on the floor of the playroom. Documents stated that following the urinating incident, the mattress was removed from the room, leaving the child without a sleeping area. Another child was in the home at the time of the incident, Ivey's 1-year-old son Jacoby, who was taken to Mary Bridge Children's Hospital for a medical evaluation and placed in protective custody. Authorities said he was also in the bedroom sitting on the bed next to his brother's body when they entered the apartment. According to court documents, illicit substances were detected in the 1-year-old system, leading prosecutors to announce they'd likely be filing additional charges once they received completed paperwork from the hospital confirming the allegations. Court documents did not hesitate to reveal more about the horrific case. When interviewed, Ivey Lewis told authorities Her son had been sleeping next to the living room heater when she found him unresponsive, though she claimed his eyes were fluttering. Ivey said she picked him up and carried him to the bathroom where there was water in the bathtub, and she turned on the water before placing his feet in as she tried to wake him up. When the mother was unsuccessful in doing so, she alleged that she laid him on the bed prior to the officer's arrival. Before finding the 3-year-old, Lewis claimed she stayed awake until 1 or 2 a.m. the same morning, and during that time, Prince had been in the living room watching TV. Ivey claimed she woke up at an unknown time during the day and placed a bottle of strawberry milk and a pastry for the child to eat. Around 6:40 p.m., the woman said she began cooking eggs for her and the child, and it was at that time she noticed him lying approximately 8 inches from the floorboard heater with his back turned to it. She told investigators that she did not call emergency services when she found the child because she did not know what to do. During the interview, Ivey said that her son ran into the wall multiple times and hit his head, actions she claimed he would do regularly. The woman denied having ever used a cord or hanger to hit the 3-year-old, saying she rarely swatted him on the butt or hands using her hands, and that she would make him stand in the corner on timeout as punishment instead. Later in the same interview, after earlier claiming she didn't use any narcotics, Ivey admitted to using green leaf or crystals days prior to her child's passing. She also confessed to previously hitting Prince with a belt after she claimed she caught him and a female child cuddling together. Lewis informed investigators she was already under supervision by Child Protective Services, also known as CPS, indicating that the 3-year-old had been in foster care from when he was 10 months old until approximately 6 months prior to his passing. When asked about any other adults who stayed at the residence, Lewis stated that JP was the only other adult who regularly stayed there. She later adjusted that statement as she admitted that she'd been seeing a male known only as D, who also spent time at her apartment. The 25-year-old claimed not to know the man's real name and only knew him by his street name before disclosing that she was pregnant and that D was the father. Additionally, Ivey was unable to provide information for the 16-hour period preceding her finding Prince unresponsive. Following the interview, Tacoma police arrested 25-year-old Ivey Marie Lewis and booked her into the Pierce County Jail. Lewis was charged with 1 count of first-degree fatality and 2 counts of second-degree fatality, to which she pleaded not guilty. Investigators determined the victim passed away from blunt force trauma to his head. The state filed an aggravated factor of deliberate cruelty due to the number, type, and severity of the child's injuries. The prosecutor said the injuries proved that Lewis was a danger to others, particularly her surviving 1-year-old child. Her bond was set at $2 million, and she was ordered not to have any contact with her surviving 1-year-old son. Pierce County prosecutors noted that the woman had an extensive criminal history, including 11 prior arrests and 2 prior felony convictions for unlawful possession of a stolen vehicle and unlawful possession of a firearm. Though the full extent of the child's injuries will not be known until the autopsy is finalized, a preliminary autopsy revealed that Prince's demise was caused by blunt force trauma to the front, right, side, and back of his head. The medical examiner declared his manner of passing as homey, and additional testing on his brain was also outstanding. I will be following the outcome of this case, so be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. May the family and friends of Prince Lewis find solace in the happy memories, and may his soul rest in perpetual peace. Thank you.